What is up guys, Andy Forest Theme Runner here, back with another video, and today we're going to be diving in and comparing the Rincon version 1 to the Rincon version 2. So today we're going to be taking a deeper dive into the world of the Hoka One One Rincon lineup, version 1 versus version 2. Today I'm going to be giving you guys my pros and cons on both of these shoes. Is the 2 really worth the upgrade? Is the 2 that much different? And is the 2 the shoe that I would choose moving forwards out of these two models? But if you're looking for more technical information, make sure you head back onto the channel, because technical information can be found within the first impressions videos of both of these shoes. Today is just pros and cons and giving you guys my overall thoughts on which one is better. So if you're excited for today's video guys, make sure you hit that like button, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and we'll start with the Rincon 1. So the Rincon 1 was my very first Hoka One One shoe and really opened my eyes to the world of Hoka One One. It then led me on to buying the Carbon X, and of course this year now investing in the Rincon 2. If we go through this very quickly, because I'm sure a lot of you guys know what this shoe is all about, we have a super lightweight daily trainer that you can pretty much do anything in. This last year was very much my favourite non-plated racing shoe, training shoe, speed work shoe, long run shoe, absolutely everything. With a medium plush heel counter area, a lovely lightweight breathable upper, simplistic laces that give you a solid lockdown, a really nice, while it lasted, EVA midsole, and very minimal rubber outsole. We have one of the lightest packages that I tested out last year in my running shoe rotation. And bar a couple of aesthetic changes in the Rincon version 2, we have literally the same shoe in the version 2. We've got that medium plush thickness heel and ankle collar area. We've got that lovely simplistic lacing system, lovely medium plush tongue, not too thick, not too thin, lightweight upper, but a different upper in the version 2. That EVA midsole that I absolutely loved in version 1, and exactly the same amount of rubber outsole in the version 2 as there is to the version 1. The main difference, as I said, is the upper in the two shoes and a very slightly different patterned overlay. This shoe is literally a couple of grams heavier than the version 1, but it's so negligible it's not even worth mentioning. But what I would say is the upper does feel a little bit thicker than in the version 1. The version 1 was super lightweight. It feels, I mean, they're both super lightweight, but it felt lighter than this thing. This feels a little bit thicker, and actually it's going to be good for me having this shoe at this time of year as we approach those colder temperatures, because if it is slightly thicker, it's going to keep my feet warm, because the Rincon 1 was a little bit too well ventilated when the weather started to get a bit cooler. But other than that, they are literally an identical shoe. So moving on to the pros and cons of both of these shoes. As you've seen, they are literally an identical shoe. So we'll cover both shoes in this pros and cons. We won't flip between the two. We'll bundle it all together. This shoe for me last year, the version 1, literally was everything I wanted in a shoe. It was absolutely incredible. And the pro for me, one of the biggest pros for me, is the fact that they didn't change things from version 1 to version 2. And I know that sounds really stupid, because the midsole did not last long at all. 180 miles I got in this thing before the midsole went flat, and then I inked out another 40 or 50 miles. And actually today at home, I've been walking around in the garden in both these shoes, and the difference between the midsoles, this thing is like an absolute brick, and the version 2 right now, with only 38 miles in it, feels so much lighter and cushioned, and exactly the Rincon feeling that I had when this thing was in its prime. But the pro, as I said, is they haven't changed it, and quite frankly, and I know I go against a lot of your opinions, I would rather get the most incredible mileage out of the shoe for a lower amount of mileage than for them to change up the midsole and give me a slightly different feeling. There's something super unique about the Rincon, super unique about the ride of the shoe, and it just feels so good. Lightweight, it can just do absolutely everything. The one main difference between the two shoes that I did notice was actually in the Rincon version 1. I don't know if it's the upper materials they used or the way that it's been designed, but this midfoot area here, around here and here, is a much snugger fit than it is in the Rincon 2. I have a little bit more room to play with on the medial and lateral side around the midfoot area, so my foot doesn't feel quite as tight into the shoe as it did in the version 1. And again, that might be the upper material that was used in this. It didn't feel that way when I started using the shoe, but as time progressed, it's almost as if the material kind of like tightened around my foot a little bit. And walking around the garden today made me realise just how tight this thing was around the midfoot. So this thing for me is slightly better in the fact I've got a bit more room to breathe in and around the medial and lateral side of the midfoot area of the shoe. But as I said, massive pro, not changing it. The only con that I ever found in this shoe, as I said, was the fact, the durability. If this EVA foam could somehow not change the way it feels and just last even 50, 100 miles longer, if we could all get over 200, 250 miles in this shoe, it would just be so much more bang for our buck. So is the Rincon 2 a worthy upgrade to the Rincon 1, and is it worth that extra money? Well, I'm going to give you a really contradictory answer. It's a worthy upgrade because they have not changed anything, which I know might sound a bit crazy. Hear me out. We all complain so much of shoes going through the evolutions. The Clifton is a great example. A shoe I've never tried, but I've heard so many complaints that the 1 was amazing and it just went downhill and picked back up in the 6. And to be honest with you, they kept the original DNA from the Rincon 1 and just moved it with a few minor tweaks into Rincon version 2. Now, ultimately, the durability is still a problem, but as I said earlier, I'm quite happy to pay the money to get less mileage out of this shoe and still experience that magic that I do with the Rincon. So is it a worthy upgrade? 100%. I am very happy with what they've done. I'm happy they've not changed anything. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But is it worth the extra money? That depends on what discount you can find on the Rincon 1. If you can save yourself 20, 30 quid with the Rincon version 1, then 100% go for the 1, because as I've alluded to, it is literally no different from the Rincon 2. Bar the upper, it is literally no different. So save yourself the money and stick with the 1. It's reassuring to know that as years progress, we'll be able to pick up 1s and 2s of these shoes, hopefully at a decent price with basically the same ride feeling. Who knows what they'll do with 3? They might end up trying to change the midsole, giving us more durability, and who knows, the ride might be a completely different story. So whilst we're enjoying the same Rincon between the 2 versions, let's just make the most of it and appreciate the fact that it is a good upgrade. But is it worth the money? As I said, if you can get a good discount on the 1, certainly stick with the 1. So there we go, those are my thoughts on the Rincon 1 versus the Rincon 2. As I said, a bit of a contradictory answer there, but hopefully you understood where I'm coming from. Basically what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is I'm super grateful that they didn't change anything massive between the 2 versions, because the Rincon 2 is the same shoe that I love in the Rincon 1. But as I said, if you can get the Rincon 1 for a heck of a lot cheaper than the 2, find a discount code and go for it. You're not going to be missing out on anything, and hey, next year when the 3 comes out, hopefully they won't change anything major there as well. You can get the 2s on a better discount then, and we can keep rolling through the models that way, and let's hope they don't do anything drastic to the next version. But let me know in the comments below if you've got the 1 and 2. I know a few of you have, and a few of you already left comments explaining how you prefer the 2 to the 1 and how you prefer the 1 to the 2, just for varying reasons. I'd love to hear your thoughts again, so let's get that conversation going in the comments section below, and let's hear your experiences with the Hoka One One Rincon. Super excited to start training again this week, so next video you're going to see on the channel will hopefully be me talking about what's coming up next over winter. Can't wait to delve in to my plans and my training, and hopefully get some more training videos coming out later this week, and then of course moving into next week and explaining what the plan of attack is. So if you're excited for today's video, or actually that was the intro, wasn't it? If you enjoyed today's video, please make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always I'll see you on the next one. Until then.